He was written as a deep-dyed, snarling villain, and he bored the out of me, because there is no longevity in deep-dyed, snarling villainy. And already I started to plan what I was going to do about that. Irwin not only allowed me to do that, but one day said, "Do more." And I did. And the rest, as we say, is history.
The last surviving star of Lost in Space died at 100 with secrets the network never wanted you to hear. A man spent 3 years passing out inside a robot suit while the studio said there was no time to stop filming. And the actor hired to be the hero watched his entire role get stolen, and eventually admitted the thief was a genius. But before we start, if you have ever loved a television show that deserved better than what the industry gave it, kindly subscribe to this channel to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Hit that button right now and let us get into one of the most extraordinary untold stories in American television history. On October 23, 2025, June Lockhart, the last surviving adult star of Lost in Space, passed away peacefully in Santa Monica at the age of 100. Before she left, she had said things in her final interviews that the network never wanted made public. Things she had been quietly carrying for nearly 6 decades. And she was not the only one. By 2025, only 3 members of the original Robinson family were still alive. Bill Mumy, who played the boy genius Will Robinson from age 10 to 14, had turned 72. Angela Cartwright, his television sister Penny, had turned 73. Marta Christensen, the eldest daughter Judy, had reached 81. And June Lockhart, the mother of the Robinson family, had already been speaking more freely than at any point in the previous 6 decades. Here is what she revealed. When Lost in Space was canceled, June Lockhart did not receive a phone call. She did not sit with a producer who thanked her for 3 years of work. She read it in a small notice in the entertainment section of her morning newspaper. That was the entirety of the farewell CBS offered to the cast of one of the most watched science fiction shows in American television history. Bill Mumy was 14 years old when it happened. He had been filming the final season with the complete belief that a 4th season was already arranged. Then the renewal list appeared and the Jupiter 2 was not on it. He went home and wept. A 14-year-old boy, ending a chapter that had consumed his entire childhood, learning it was over from someone who had to deliver the news over a telephone. And yet, on March 17, 2026, Bill Mumy posted a photograph of himself standing with Angela Cartwright and Marta Christensen, and captioned it, "Judy, Penny, and Will Robinson spotted on Earth yesterday. 60 years after the show first aired, they are still showing up for one another." That single fact tells you everything about what the show really was underneath the foam rubber aliens and the spray-painted props. But to understand the full story, we have to go back to the very beginning, to a man from the Bronx who looked at a career trap and turned it into a masterpiece. Before Jonathan Harris was Dr. Smith, he was a pharmacist's son from a 6-story tenement building in the Bronx who had literally invented himself from scratch. His parents were Russian immigrants. His father worked in Manhattan's garment district. The boy who grew up speaking what he later described as thick Bronx street slang made a decision early in his life that he was going to become someone else entirely. He changed his surname from Kasuchin to Harris at 17, against his father's furious objections. He earned a pharmacy degree he never used. He fabricated an acting resume. He talked his way into a career that eventually included Broadway, The Twilight Zone, and roughly 125 stage productions. When Irwin Allen offered him the role on Lost in Space, Harris looked at the character as written and immediately recognized a career trap. Dr. Smith was a cold-blooded spy who killed a guard in the pilot's opening minutes and reprogrammed the robot to destroy the Robinson family in their sleep. He was designed to be despicable and eliminated within 5 episodes. Harris understood exactly what this meant. A role that ends in 5 episodes is not a career. It is an expensive dead end. So he started rewriting things quietly at first. He would arrive on set with entirely new pages of dialogue written overnight. He told the cast, "Let us go over the scene. I have changed all the dialogue." Bill Mumy, still a child at the time, watched this and later described it with genuine awe. Harris would rewrite scenes and then quietly engineer every beat of the action so that all roads led back to Dr. Smith. The cowardly eye rolls, the melodramatic wailing about his back, and most importantly, the cascade of invented insults hurled at the robot. None of it appeared in any script. Harris sat up nights constructing phrases like bubble-headed booby, nickel-plated nincompoop, and bellicose bumpkin. He explained his reasoning with perfect logic. The robot was wise to Smith's schemes, and Smith had to attack it constantly to keep it from exposing him. Every insult was a survival tactic dressed as comedy. By the time Allen understood what had happened, 500 fan letters a month were pouring in for Dr. Smith. Allen had no realistic choice but to celebrate it. He later said openly that Smith was not originally created as a comedy character, but that Jonathan Harris had dictated what they should do with the character. Harris negotiated a special guest star credit on every one of all 83 episodes, reportedly the first time that billing structure had ever appeared on American television. The man hired to disappear in 5 episodes had become the irreplaceable center of the entire production. Guy Williams came to Lost in Space as one of the most recognizable men on American television. For years as Zorro on Disney had made him a genuine star. The show's merchandise had generated $11 million within months of its premiere. He was tall, fencing trained since age 7, and genuinely excited about playing John Robinson, the brilliant mission commander who would lead his family through the universe. This was supposed to be his show. The transformation happened gradually enough to feel almost polite. In Season 1, Williams' screen time began shrinking as the Dr. Smith storylines expanded. By Season 2, it was a pattern. By Season 3, it was simply the reality of the production. Williams appeared on set, delivered a handful of lines, and stood in the background while Jonathan Harris and Bill Mumy and the robot carried the episode forward. Mark Goddard described the atmosphere directly. The show started going more toward the robot and Smith, and there were hard feelings from Guy, especially. Jonathan Harris himself acknowledged the damage, which is remarkable given that he was the cause of it. He said openly that Williams was hired to be the star of the piece and ended up with an occasional line every other week. Harris called this very difficult for an actor to endure. He was correct. He just did not stop doing it. Williams filled his idle hours listening to classical music, reading astronomy, playing chess, and buying stocks. Bill Mumy gave him the nickname the Comb because Williams groomed himself constantly between takes. In one reported exchange, Williams erupted with the words, "God damn it, I will kill you, Harris," before adding after a pause, "I mean Smith." Whether accidental or deliberate, it captured something completely real about the situation. After cancellation, Williams discovered his Hollywood career had not survived being the background of his own show. But halfway around the world, his situation was entirely reversed. Zorro had become a cultural institution in Argentina. The government gave him a luxury marina apartment. The wife of President Perón personally invited him to perform at a charity event. He spent the last 21 years of his life living as something close to royalty in a country that had never forgotten what he am. Inked to them. On May 6, 1989, police entered his Buenos Aires apartment after friends reported his disappearance and found him alone. A ruptured brain aneurysm had killed him approximately a week earlier. He was 65. Nobody had known because he had been living alone and mobile phones did not yet exist. The man promised the lead of a television series had died undiscovered in a country that loved him more than his own industry ever had. Bill Mumy later said simply that when the show ended, he never saw Guy again. Not once. Every child who watched Lost in Space in the 1960s loved the robot. It waved its accordion arms, barked warnings, and somehow managed to feel warm despite being made entirely of metal and rubber. For 3 years, the person physically inside that machine was suffering in ways the production company had quietly decided were not anyone else's concern. Bob May walked into the Lost in Space audition by accident while applying for a different job at 20th Century Fox. Irwin Allen's team sent him to try on the robot suit. The audition was brutally simple: if you fit, you are hired. When May climbed out of the suit after his first session, he was cut and bleeding from the metal edges. He took the job anyway. The suit weighed approximately 200 pounds. Under studio lights, the interior temperature became what May later described as his own jacuzzi and sauna combined. The costume was nearly airtight. On at least 2 confirmed occasions across the 3 seasons, May passed out inside it from lack of oxygen. The production company's official response to these incidents was that there was no time to stop filming. May was a devoted smoker who puffed cigarettes inside the costume during breaks. June Lockhart recalled seeing smoke drifting through the robot seams and finding it quietly amusing. The legend holds that Irwin Allen arrived between scenes, spotted smoke rising from the apparently empty robot, and panicked that the suit was on fire. When he discovered it was May enjoying a cigarette, Allen reportedly decreed that whenever a script called for the robot to emit smoke, May should personally generate it. Despite performing every physical gesture that made the robot one of television's most beloved characters, Bob May was never credited on screen during the entire original run. Not one episode in all 3 seasons carried his name. The practical consequence was lower pay and significantly reduced residuals. As Lost in Space grew into a global phenomenon, May and his wife Judith were living in a mobile home park in the San Fernando Valley. In November 2008, the Sear fire destroyed their home. 2 months later, May died of congestive heart failure at 69. What defined his later years was not bitterness, but extraordinary generosity. He became one of the most beloved figures on the science fiction convention circuit, staying at signing tables until every fan had their moment. He said once, "I will stay at any convention signing autographs until the last fan is finished or the cleaning crew forces me to leave." A man made invisible by the industry that profited from him chose to make sure that no fan ever felt invisible in front of him. The episode that stands as the purest symbol of Lost in Space's creative collapse aired during the final season and was called The Great Vegetable Rebellion. In it, Dr. Smith picks a flower on an alien planet and is put on trial by a sentient plant creature, then transformed into a stalk of celery. The central villain was a man in a full-body foam rubber carrot costume. The writer, Peter Packer, arrived at Jonathan Harris's dressing room holding the script behind his back, too embarrassed to hand it over directly. Guy Williams and June Lockhart could not get through their scenes without laughing. Irwin Allen was so furious that he wrote both of them out of the next 2 episodes at full salary as punishment for laughing at his own show. And then something stranger happened. When TV Guide published its list of the 100 greatest television episodes in 1997, The Great Vegetable Rebellion appeared at number 76. The City on the Edge of Forever, widely considered the single greatest hour of Star Trek ever produced, appeared at number 92. The carrot episode ranked higher than the most celebrated episode in Star Trek history. Television is not a rational medium. The cancellation itself came down to a negotiation that Irwin Allen refused to lose. CBS offered a 4th season with a 15% budget cut. Allen said no. Jonathan Harris later told this story with a mixture of admiration for Allen's pride and frustration at the consequence. The show was canceled not because audiences stopped watching, but because the producer refused to accept less money. CBS announced the decision on February 19, 1968. The Robinson family was never rescued. They never reached Alpha Centauri. They never came home. The last episode filmed ended with the family still stranded on a distant planet, fully believing they were returning in 8 weeks for a season 4 that was never going to happen. Jonathan Harris spent his final years as a prolific voice actor, voicing Manny in Pixar's A Bug's Life in 1998 and appearing in Toy Story 2 the following year. When the 1998 Lost in Space film offered him a 6-line cameo, he rejected it with words that became famous in Hollywood circles. He said they offered him an innocuous 6-line bit they laughingly called a cameo, and he told them exactly where to shove it. He died in November 2002, 3 days short of his 88th birthday. Bill Mumy delivered one of the eulogies. The Netflix reboot that ran from 2018 to 2021 honored what came before. The rebooted Dr. Smith was given the full name June Harris, combining June Lockhart and Jonathan Harris into a single character name. June Lockhart herself, at 96, voiced Alpha Control in Season 3, her voice carrying Everett. You expected intelligence, warmth, and the quiet authority of someone who had been doing this since 1965. She died 2 years later at 100, peacefully, having watched the series canceled, revived, mocked, celebrated, rebooted, and preserved across 3 generations of fans. The Robinson family never made it home in the story. The people who played them never stopped finding their way back to each other. Now you know all of it. Tell us in the comments which secret surprised you the most. Like and subscribe because there is a lot more of this kind of story on the way.